Oh man, let me unmute the mic. Yeah, it happens. Anyways, what drives you? Is it passion, the kind that gets you up before the alarm? Is it pressure? Those deadlines chasing you down like a second shadow? Or maybe it's that voice in your head. You know the one. Keep going, or you'll fall behind. Today, we're flipping the script. We're slowing down so we can speed up. Because, yeah, ambition, it's powerful. But sometimes it turns on us, pushes too hard, burns too hot. And that's when the grind becomes a trap. This is your reminder to breathe, to reset, to refocus, not on the hustle, but on what matters. This is Motivational Monday, and this is Talk Radio. Let's go.
longest rated TV MA and is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Welcome to Talk Radio, your favorite place for real talk on weeknights. It's Motivational Monday, and today is June 2nd, 2025. We are 41.92% through the year, friends. That's 21 weeks and 6 days, or 153 days, or 3,672 hours, 220,320 minutes, or 13,219,200 seconds. That's how long you've made it. That's how long you've been hustling, grinding, showing up, and pushing forward, even on days when it felt like everything was pushing back. So let me ask you, how's your mind doing? Not the automatic "I'm fine" response. I mean, really, how are you doing? Tonight's theme is staying ambitious without burning out. Because ambition is a fire, and like any fire, it can warm your house or burn it down. We're all chasing something, building something, trying to become something, but if we don't pause to check in on ourselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, we risk losing the very energy that fuels our dreams. So tonight, we're hitting pause not on our goals, but on the pace. We're talking boundaries, rest, momentum over perfection, and why slowing down doesn't mean giving up. It means powering up smarter. You're not lazy for needing to rest. You're not weak for needing balance. You're wise for recognizing that sustainability is the real flex. So whether you're tuning in from your car, your kitchen, or your couch, this hour is your permission to slip and breathe, reflect, and recharge. Let's get into it. So first up, we got the title of this episode, Mental Health and Hustle. Let me be honest with you. A few years back, I got caught in that whole rise and grind mentality. You know the one. Those motivational quotes that tell you sleep is for the weak, or you've got the same 24 hours as Beyonce. So I started waking up at 5 a.m., scheduling every minute, stacking side hustles like building blocks, skipped meals, said no to hangouts, worked weekends like they were just extra weekdays. And for a while, it felt good. I was getting things done. People were noticing. I was busy. And in our culture, that almost feels like a badge of honor. But behind the scenes, my sleep was trash. I was running on caffeine and cortisol. My relationships were strained. I was present, but not really there. And somewhere along the way, I lost sight of who I was outside of the hustle. I stopped laughing as much, stopped dreaming beyond the next deadline, stopped checking in with myself. And here's the thing, burnout isn't just being tired, it's deeper than that. It's when the fire that used to fuel you just flickers. Your creative your creativity dulls, your joy takes the backseat. And the worst part, you often don't even notice it happening until you're already in it. If you've ever felt like that, overwhelmed, overworked, and underconnected to yourself, then today's show is for you. We're unpacking the mental cost of the hustle. We'll talk about boundaries, rest, redefining success, and most importantly, how to protect your peace without giving up your goals. Last week on our show, we asked, what motivates you the most? Here's what you said. The choices were recognition, progress, purpose, and challenge. And recognition got 0% votes. Progress got 33%. Purpose 33%. Challenge 33%. Excuse me. That's interesting. Let's start with the obvious. Recognition got 0 votes. Zero. Nada. Not a single person said, I do it for the applause. That says a lot about my audience and maybe even about the moment we're living in. Instead, it's a three-way tie between progress, purpose, and challenge. And honestly, those are powerful internal drives. But here's the thing. While they all sound motivating, they don't all burn the same way. Progress can be empowering until you hit a plateau. Purpose can light you up, but what happens when you're feeling lost or disconnected from it? Challenge can push you to grow, but it can also push you to the edge of burnout. Motivation is a fuel, but not all fuel burns clean. Some of it burns fast and dirty. It'll get you moving, sure, but it might also leave you drained or even disillusioned. So, up next, let's break that down. How can you identify what kind of motivation you're running on? And more importantly, how do you shift towards sustainable motivation? The kind that lasts, fuels growth, and doesn't wreck your engine along the way. Stick around. Let's break down the three simple but powerful strategies that you can start using this week. These aren't fancy, these aren't trends. These are foundational tools to help you function at your best without burning out. Number one, time blocking. Start treating your calendar like prime real estate. That means everything gets a space. Your work, your meals, even your breaks. Don't just block off meetings and deadlines. Block off recovery time. Block off your walk, your lunch, your do nothing moment. Why? Because if it's not scheduled, it's usually skipped. And here's the kicker. The more intentional you are with your time, the more freedom you actually get. Time blocking isn't about control, it's about clarity. It's you saying to the world, this is what matters to me, and I've made space for it. Number two, non-negotiable self-care. Choose one act of care that serves you and make it sacred. It could be a 10-minute morning walk, journaling before bed, a no phone hour where you just sit in silence or read an actual book you keep saying you're going to finish. It doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be consistent. Treat it like brushing your teeth, non-negotiable, no matter what. Because self-care isn't a spa day, it's a system. It's you maintaining the machine, which is you. Number three, set digital boundaries. Here's the truth. Not every ping deserves your attention. Silence non-essential notifications. Move distracting apps off your home screen. Better yet, create a no-scroll zone in your home. The couch, sacred. The bed, off-limits. The dinner table, a no-phone fortress. All that digital noise, it chips away at your peace, your focus, and your presence. You don't need to be available to everyone all the time. You need to be available to yourself. These aren't luxury habits. These are survival habits. They don't slow you down. They sustain your speed. They're how you make sure there's enough of you left at the end of the day to keep going tomorrow. So try one this week. Build a system that serves you because burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a signal, and these tools, they're how you listen before it's too late. All right, friends, it's time for your Motivational Monday challenge. And this week, we are doing something a little different. Something that might feel less like a push and more like a pause. Instead of setting another goal that demands more output, more effort, more hustle, this week we're flipping the script. We want you to set a recovery goal. What's that mean? It's a commitment to yourself. Not to do more, but to give yourself what you actually need. A goal that allows your body and mind a moment to rest, to reset, to heal. Because the truth is, you're not a machine. You weren't designed to run on caffeine and constant motion. You deserve a break that doesn't come with guilt. So, what might your recovery goal look like? Maybe it's getting to bed before midnight. Not every night, just a few. Enough to notice the difference. Maybe it's turning off those work notifications as soon as the weekend starts and letting yourself be fully present wherever you are. Maybe it's saying no to something you don't really want to do, something that drains you, something you've outgrown. Or maybe it's simply taking 10 minutes a day to do nothing at all. Just breathe, just be. Whatever it looks like for you. Make this the week you choose something that restores your energy rather than depleting it. Because here's the bottom line: hustle culture isn't entitled to your well being, not your sleep, not your spirit, not your sanity. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to protect your boundaries. You are allowed to prioritize your well being. And you should. So go ahead. Take a breath, take a beat, take your time. The grind will still be there tomorrow. But today is a good day to take care of yourself. All right, folks, it's time for a conversation that dives deep into the heart of what it means to overcome. I had the chance to sit down with Michael Allison, founder of the Adversity Academy, a man who's turned life's toughest challenges into powerful lessons and purpose. From personal setbacks to professional pivots, Michael shares how adversity doesn't just build character, it reveals it. Here's our pre recorded interview. Lean in. This one's worth every second. Yeah, I'm thrilled to be joined by a very special guest tonight, Michael Allison, a U.S. Marine Purple Heart veteran, international keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and founder of the Adversity Academy. Michael's life journey has taken him from combat zones to corporate boardrooms, from from homelessness to building and selling successful businesses. He's seen it all, and he's here to share his wealth of knowledge on leadership, overcoming adversity, and turning challenges into success. So, Michael, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Man, thank you so much for having me, man. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Today's a great day. Absolutely good time in my life right now, man. So thank you for having me here, brother.
You're very welcome. Okay, so the first little segment will be the journey of resilience. Your journey is truly remarkable, from surviving homelessness as a child to being a Purple Heart veteran and now leading the Adversity Academy. You've overcome so much. Let's start from the beginning. Can you share a bit about your childhood and how it shaped your view on resilience and personal growth?
Yeah, most definitely. Obviously, some of us are born into circumstances and we have no control over those things. So for me, I was born in Jamaica, which is one of like the poorest countries in the Caribbean, next to Haiti at the time. Back in 1980s, we struggled with having a flood, and that flood caused like a whole bunch of downpour from rain and stuff like that. Wake up in the middle of the night, we see water inside of our house, and we just seen things floating around. Mom and dad had to respond immediately. So they grabbed all of the kids. We got a ladder and we sitting on top of the roof of our house. And until the water subsided, then we were trying to figure things out. So we were left with homeless. We didn't have nowhere to go. Our house got totally messed up. And eventually mom and dad did figure things out. But that's when my initial insights of resilience started kicking in, of seeing how they didn't give up and they just chose to persevere and push through that, just seeing it from a kid's eyes and looking at what my mom and dad did. You got to think about it. At that time, my mom was a postal clerk and my dad was a taxi driver. So things for them in regards to like how they were making their income got shut down, and all of the things that they worked so hard for was completely gone. So they had to start back over again. Unfortunately, man, 2 years later, we get hit with Hurricane Gilbert, another Category 5 hurricane, killed over 300 people in our country, and then demolished our house. And from there, mom and dad was like, you know what, we tired of this stuff. We got to make a change, man. So that came with some sacrifices that was tied to that. So my mom and dad went to New York City to start a new living, to make ends meet for us. And me and my siblings stayed in Jamaica until they made enough money. And then they sent for us to come to America. When we came to America, we came to Miami, Florida. But if you think about like how boroughs are set up, like in New York, there's different pockets of cities in the town. So we went to Overtown, Miami, Florida, and at that time, man, it was like the projects of the projects and the ghettos of the ghettos. So when you talk about like drugs, prostitutes, crackheads, you name it, all those things was things I was seeing at 7 years old. And unfortunately, man, for me, my first night coming into living with my family member, it wasn't the best or ideal situation, but we had to make the best of the situation. As it's the projects, it's minimal bedrooms, so all of us kids are in one bedroom. So me and my brother and my sister, we're sleeping on the floor, and then the other siblings, four of them, are sleeping on bunk beds in the same bedroom. And that's how our life was for close to about a year until my mom and dad came to get us from Miami and just forced to start doing things on our own. And I will say that, my first night in America was not the greatest. My family member tried to take my innocence away from me. And that's something that I really had to deal with and struggle with, trying to like navigate that, especially at a 7-year-old age for a young boy. Anyhow, that was one of the first few things that has occurred in my life up to 7 years old, man. And shortly after that, as a kid, trying to like navigate, trying to figure life out, trying to be a part of something, Boy Scouts come to school, tell us all about the Boy Scouts. It seems like a great idea. Talk to mom and dad about it. They say, hey, you could join the Boy Scouts. So I joined. And sadly, man, on one of our last trips, we're taken to Washington, D.C., and we're seeing the monuments, the White House, having a good time. And all of us come back to our hotel room. There's 12 boys. We're split up in separate rooms. Half of the boys go through, take their showers. I go in, take my shower. I come out, and I see the boys that we were all together with on the wall naked. And I'll be honest, man, I experienced something that no kid should ever experience. And we got abused. And it's tough when you're trying to navigate that as a young man, and then you're coming from the means of family that don't have the resources to get lawyers to fight things, to know how to articulate and kind of like tell your story and get the help that you need. I eventually just left the Boy Scouts and just going about life. As I go on about life, things kind of got better for me, I would say, as from like 11 years old up to high school. But in the midst of that, I kind of like started discovering like my talent in regards to art. So I was very good in painting and drawing, creating sculptures. I was very artistic. So I got accepted and go into art school. And I went to art school, and also the art school had a football team. So I chose to play football, and got turned out to be pretty good. And our team was pretty good. We had a player on our team named Rohan Davey, went on to play for LSU, and he ended up turning to be Tom Brady's backup. Went to a couple of Super Bowls with Tom Brady. With that being said, him being at our school gave us a little bit of hot spotlight. So University of Wisconsin came there and saw me and offered me an opportunity to play for Wisconsin. Sadly for me, man, it seems like my luck just never runs out, man. I tore my ACL, MCL my senior year. Scholarship gets taken away. I'm like, damn, now I got to figure something else out. I'm disappointed. The recruiter sees me coming out of the Chow Hall cafeteria, starts telling me about the Marine Corps, tells me all the good things about the Marine Corps, none of the bad stuff. Anyhow, I tell mom and dad about it. And after I tell mom and dad about it, it was like, hell no, you're not joining the military. They were scared of me going to the war at that particular time because they've seen what Desert Storm was like. And anyhow, he talks to my mom and dad, convinced them. And shortly after that, their son is off to boot camp. I'm in Parris Island, South Carolina, training for 3 months. And boot camp was not initially the greatest experience, but it turned out to be one of the most rewarding experiences and teach me who I am and showing that sign of resilience. And that kind of led to my path throughout that, man. As I went on through boot camp, I served our country for 8 years, go through 9/11, go through the Iraq war, and so much more that came from there, man.
That's a very good story, and I enjoy, hearing people's building up from past problems and past struggles. So it's awesome to hear that type of thing. One of the things you become known for is your incredible ability to turn challenges into success. Can you talk about how you navigated the adversity you faced during your time in the military, especially with PTSD and TBI, and how those experiences influenced your work today?
Yeah, definitely. So when I got to Iraq, one of the first signs that I saw when we came through the FOB was complacency kills. And it really taught me that you have to keep on pushing yourself and keep on unlocking different levels within yourself and the people that you lead as a leader too as well, if you want to continuously evolve. And one of those first things that hit me with was one of the challenges when we got to Iraq. I'm there and we went through our first mission. We got into a shootout, and shortly after that, I'm there with my gunnery sergeant. He gets injured, and somebody now has to lead first section. And I'm thinking that somebody else would be a much more senior person, as I was a junior sergeant at the time. I didn't have any combat experience, and they had enough trust inside of me to help lead first section. One of the key things that I realized is that I had the ability to connect with people and be able to understand them from a human standpoint, opposed to looking beyond surface level types of things when it's come to connecting with people that are working for you and you're asking them to do things for you. And it turned out to be a great benefit for me. The last mission that we go on, we're into different firefights, we're into different shootouts. And to be able to communicate with people and kind of understand them and know what makes them do things and stuff like that, it means a lot when your life is on the line. And that's what really started to like show me how to lead people, that helped me with my career and my business now today. You know, when we was on our last mission, you know, I got hit by a car bomb, and I'm having to escape out of that. I'm trying to navigate that. I end up having to put my best friend in a body bag. And that really shocked me and rocked me and showed me that like life is precious. These moments are precious, and you got to really, really treat things and put things into perspective. And that has allowed me to go out to become much more resilient and push through whenever I'm hit with tough times and tough situations, to the point of just sharing that information and sharing some of those experiences with some of our corporate leaders too as well.
Cool, cool, cool. um, Next, you built and sold an Inc. 5000 franchise, and now you run the Adversity Academy. What drives you to continue pushing forward and helping others navigate their own adversities? What do you want people to walk away with after working with you?
Yeah, so when I ran that company, we did really well. I invested $150,000 into this franchise, and I wanted to build a brand and build a business, and we did pretty successful. Obviously, we did really well, but I always felt like there was a calling on my life to do something greater, based off some of the things that I've experienced, and how much more people I could help. And I didn't think in a construction industry or painting industry I could help people with my story and my experiences. So I eventually sold the franchise. And after selling back the franchise, I was in the gym one day working out. And I'm a man of faith. So I'm asking God, like, what is it that you want me to do? And in that moment, man, it was to tell your story. And from there, I decided to write my book in 90 days. I put out my first book. I get invited to go do a TED Talk. From doing the TED Talk, I'm asked to speak to different schools, different industries, to share my story, to inspire them and motivate them. And from there, I realized, oh, this is something that people is really interested in. And from there, I hired a coach to teach me how to become a keynote speaker. And from doing that, people are asking me to speak on bigger stages. I'm speaking to people in the audience of 5,000 people, and I'm sharing my life story. And just to see people's crying, people's emotion, people's oohs and ahs, and realizing the impact that it's made, I said, wow, man, I didn't know that all the things that I've been through in my life is changing so many people's lives. And from that moment, I said, I'm going to continue to be a keynote speaker and just lead and show people that if I've been through some of these things, you can get through them too as well. That eventually led to me just doing some of the coaching that I'm doing and helping people change their lives, where they get to see some of the same transformation that I have too as well. And companies have access to come into as well and help them with change management, some of the things that could be dealing with their people on their team that need some change as well too. So that's how things have changed for me, and it turned out to be a wonderful blessing for me. And now to make an impact with people's lives is one of the greatest things ever, man.
That's cool. I wish I was in the shoes to be able to do that. I deal with a lot of social anxiety and just, things like that. I can't be around 5,000 people. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to have a heart attack right now. Okay, so I got here segment two, leadership and personal development. Um, as a leadership coach and someone with extensive experience training military officers, you have a unique perspective on leadership. What does effective leadership look like to you, and how do you think leaders can adapt in today's world?
I think effective leadership comes through the lens of empathy. And I think being a good leader, you got to know people that are in your charge and how to inspire them, motivate them, and get the best out of them and get them to their peak performance and get them to their capabilities and abilities where they get to shine. And I think when you get them to shine, it'll always reflect back on you as you're the one that was empowering them to get to those different levels for themselves.
Okay, you've worked with both military and business leaders. How do leadership principles differ between these two arenas?
I think it's a mindset thing. In the military, I think things are much more strict or stringent. There are much more boundaries around some of the things when it comes to leadership in the military. And when you come to working with some of the corporate leaders, some of them get put into different roles and different positions in leadership, and some of them have to be trained up to deal with some of the things when it comes to working with their peoples, their staff, and some of those things that are not really trained every single time. And I say that as in like in the military, it's a rank structure. So you have to like go through progressions when it comes to your leadership roles and capabilities. And when it comes to the corporate standpoint, it could be a 21-year-old that's a CEO of a company that's running a company that has no experience of leadership. So that's where there's some of those things where they could be lacking some things. And that's why when we do our leadership training, we create them for our frontline supervisors, first time supervisors, middle management supervisors, and some of our senior executives, because at different levels, they're going to need different types of leadership training too as well.
Yeah, and I grew up military. My dad was Air Force for 20 years. So,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in that military family and I know all about the different ranks. My dad, lower ranked, and you got these higher guys coming down on him being like, you got to do this and this and this. So I know all about that military stuff. Um, okay, at the Adversity Academy, you focus on helping individuals and organizations turn challenges into success. What are some of the most common obstacles you see, and how can people overcome them?
One of the number one things that I find is people have imposter syndrome, man, and they feel like once I get into a role, once I get into position, some of them feel like they're not capable, and they feel like, how am I here, or I don't deserve to be here. And this is when I have to come in and help them shatter some of these limitations and these limiting beliefs. And we apply that through the framework of decision, direction, destination. And when I say that, we got to identify what are some of the things that we're struggling with, and then go through that process of naming what it is. And then the next part to that is clarifying that and just make sure we are very clear on what we're trying to accomplish, what we're trying to do. And then when I say clarify that too as well, let empower the person to know that you're fully capable of the position that you're in and what you're doing to actually get the job done. And then the last part to that is verifying it. And some of these people will tell themselves lies inside of their head and they start believing it. And you have to go through that process of just extracting that and then actually putting them through it. Because sometimes people feel that if I've not done it yet, that I can't do it. But someone didn't trust you and put you in a position if you could not do it already as well too. So it's just actually going through some of those experiences. And some of the times I share my own personal story. I've never been in combat before, but I was put in those leadership positions to lead a lot of people, and people are shooting at you and stuff like that. And but I've been trained all the way up to that point to go through these circumstances and situations to help lead other people through tough times and tough situations, regardless of what it is. I cannot be in combat and think or act as if like I'm not going to do this. I'm going to turn around. I'm ready to go back home. That's not an option.
Yeah, that's like with my show here. You know, I had when I started, I was like, okay, can I do this? I don't know. I'm not the most best at talking and speaking, but I just have a passion and I like making videos and doing things with videos. So I just started doing this show and I continuously questioned myself. am I doing good enough? Do I sound like an idiot?
Do
But I keep doing it. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna keep
what you love,
trying
man. Do what you love.
and keep trying to improve my style and my show and my niche and my just everything. But going into segment three part, mental health, resilience, and personal growth. Your personal story includes overcoming PTSD, TBI, and other personal setbacks. Mental health has become an increasingly important topic in today's world. How do you think mental health awareness and resilience intersect? And what advice do you have for someone who's struggling with mental health issues?
Yeah, so I'll answer the last question first. I believe that mental health is a big thing now. And if you're struggling with mental health, you definitely have to go and get the help that you need. And you have to know you might have to keep on going through the process to actually get to where you're going to get the solutions that you're looking for. But I think you have to become much more like solutions thinking and solutions focused and getting the results that you're looking for. So, mental health is going to be a challenge, and it could hit us in different ways: depression, anxiety, doubt, grief, guilt, any of those things. It could hit us. But once you have identified what it is and you know that you're trying to get over that hump, get to that counselor, get to that psychiatrist, or get to that group that you need to be in. That's going to change your life. And it may not hit the first time, but you don't give up. You just keep on pushing through until you find the right group, the right person to help you get past some of those things that's challenging you. The first time I went to go get help, I gave up, and I struggled for close to another 10 years of my life trying to deal with it. And what it brought me to the brink of trying to commit suicide and take my life. And it was not until I found my counselor, which was Dr. Judith, and she helped me unpack so many different things that I was suppressing. And that helped me get past some of the things that I was challenged with. To so it's just keep on pushing through and just trying to identify the right person that's going to help you. And you got to do your research. Find a counselor that could identify with some of the things that you've been through or have some of the experiences that you're looking for to go through some things. I was looking for someone that had the experience of working with veterans. I was looking for someone that had the experiences of someone that has some childhood trauma, those types of things that could help me break through some of those things that I could not unlock inside of my head that I could deal with. And once I kind of did that, man, I said, I really want to not have some of these things come back. So I went to Rush University, which is one of the top schools in Chicago and universities in Chicago that really focus on mental health, focus on traumatic brain injuries. And I wanted to take a deeper dive into that. And they also work closely with our veterans. So I wanted to go there and get with those doctors to help me break through some of the things that I was struggling with most of my adult life once I got out of the military too as well. Because I never really addressed some of the things that occurred to me in the military. Then what I would say, man, how they intersect is this, when you have mental health issues, man, you kind of like put yourself into a box. You kind of get into like these like cloudy fogs, and it's these stories that you keep telling yourself over and over, and you get to a point of just believing some of these things. Additionally, sometimes if you never address it, you could like go on about life, but all of a sudden you have like these different triggers and they like kick back in. And that's when they bring up some of the things from the past that you've never addressed or dealt with. So it's important for us to actually start dealing with it. For me, the military and some things from my childhood taught me how to compartmentalize things. So I would get it, deal with it, and as a man or as a kid at the time, you're kind of told to like suck it up, don't deal, those types of things. So like I started doing that and just compartmentalizing it and just putting it and never address it and deal with it. And it was not until I got called for someone that tried to commit suicide when I was on the railroad, and I showed up, I seen the dead body, and it brought up all of these past traumas of me seeing dead bodies when I was in Iraq. And that was telling me that I never really addressed or faced some of the things that was haunting me, that I was having nightmares about sleep, sweats in the night and stuff like that. So that's when those things were messing with me at the time. To become much more resilient, that's when I chose to attack it. That's when I chose to face it. So whenever things was triggered, when things started coming up, I knew how to deal with it. I had the tools, I had the things in my toolbox to make sure I push through this and persevere through some of these things where it doesn't take me to like going back on medication, feeling sorry for myself. I try to commit suicide, those types of things. But when you arm yourself with some of these things, you become much more resilient.
Well, in addition to mental health, personal growth is a key theme in your work. How do you define personal growth, and what are some actionable steps that people can take to foster growth in their own lives?
Number one is self accountability, man. You have got to have that emotional intelligence and have that self awareness. And if you can't do it for yourself, then you're gonna have to need to find a counselor, find a coach, somebody like myself to help you have that self awareness. I always tell people it's hard to see the label when you're inside of the jar. And if you can't identify what it is, then you might have to get with someone to point out some things that's gonna help you break through some of the things that is challenging you. And once you get on that path and you start identifying what it is that's tied to your personal growth, then we start breaking those things incrementally and we just start attacking it. It could be your health, it could be your fitness, it could be your mindset, it could be your education, it could be some of your skill sets, it could be how you're communicating with people, it could be how you lead your team. So once we identify what it is, then we can actually put together an actionable plan. And for myself, whenever I'm working with people, I still go through that same framework. So the other part of the framework is direction and destination. So we're going to break that down into planning that. And then once you start planning that, then we're going to start building it out. And what does it look like? Then we're going to start navigating through that and actually go through that process in that phase of your discovering your transformation process. And then the last part to that is the destination piece. And when I say that, the destination piece is now, how could we actually do all of these things, start engaging, but now we sustain that level that you've established for yourself and not go back to where you was at before.
Okay, cool. And building on that, you've mentioned overcoming adversity as a core theme in your life and career. What role does adversity play in personal transformation, and how can individuals reframe their challenges to grow stronger?
Yeah, I think it's important to identify your adversity, but I think that your adversity actually truly builds that character and actually shows you who you are and what's inside of you. We were talking the other day with a friend, and what we came from that conversation is that you often hear like tough times create very tougher people, and then easier times create people that are much more softer or lesser to deal with conflict and challenges. And I do believe that is true. And there's a thing called the power and the force, and it's a framework that shows the breakdown of this. And you'll see different people that have never been through some tough times don't really know how to deal with challenges and things like that. So it's important for us to identify what our adversities are and actually learn how to deal with them. And if you've never been through adversity in your life, that doesn't make you any lesser or anything. It's just acknowledging that I've never been through some of these things and life might hit me in different ways. But now I need to know how to be proactive and respond to some of these things, opposed to being reactive and responding in very adverse ways. For example, the story that we was actually talking about was the guy or the young man that killed the insurance guy at the beginning of the year this year. And it's because he had got injured, his insurance got taken away, and he went and he walked up on this guy in New York City and he killed him. But if you looked at why he did that, he was a kid that came from tons of money, never had a bad day in his life, never had bad experiences in his life, and he really didn't know how to handle that, didn't really know how to go through that. So what did he do? He chose to kill this guy. But what could have been some other things that could have helped him along the way? If he had people around him that were much more involved and could have identified some of these things, or the places that they've taken him before to get the help, he could have got with the right counselor, the right psychiatrist to identify some of these things to actually not get to that and point some of those things out.
Yeah. Um, so heading into the last segment, segment four, the impact of AI in leadership training. Let's let's talk about the future of leadership. AI is becoming an increasingly important tool in many industries. What role do you think AI will play in leadership training and personal development moving forward?
I think AI is going to play a significant role when it comes to leadership training. I think one of the biggest significant of things I'm seeing now is around the assessment aspect of things and how they're actually streamlining that information and getting it back to you in a faster way. So, for example, if a person completes a DISC assessment, someone completes the 16 personality assessments, the Myers Briggs, all of those different things, it's now giving you that information back at a faster rate. But when it comes to AI being integrated with leadership training and development and personal development, I don't think it's going to replace the human aspect. I think you need humans to actually do work and do things that we're trying to do. So, as a leader, that connection of you building rapport with Susie, John, Lisa, those different things to get those people to actually do the work that you're trying to have them do, it's always going to be there. And that plays a significant role for a person to execute and do things. I think it's more so on the back end where AI is going to play a significant role with some of the things that you can start automating, some of the things with your information, some of the things you need to start organizing as a leader too as well.
Okay. Do you think AI could potentially help individuals become more resilient and adaptive in leadership roles? Or do you feel it's important for the human element to always be at the core of leadership development?
No, I think the human element needs to be at the core. I don't think people is going to sit up here and continue to believe in robots to tell them what to do or how to do things. I think leave AI to do AI streamline activities, but when you're trying to empower people, inspire people, I don't think a robot is ever going to inspire me or motivate me to do something.
Yeah, I agree with that. Um, okay, so closing and stuff. Told you it wouldn't be too long. This has been an incredible conversation. Before we wrap up, what's the next for you? What are some of the upcoming projects or initiatives you're excited about?
Man, great questions. Thank you for that, man. So I have my next book coming out, Break the Bottle, Shatter Limitations and Achieve Extraordinary Success. And I can't wait for that book to be coming out here in the next couple months. In addition to that, I love being a keynote speaker. I get a chance to travel the world and share my story and make an impact with people. And that's one of the greatest things that I think has been a blessing for me throughout my transformation too, as well. So I'm on the road here, getting ready to go to Philadelphia, San Diego, Lima, Ohio. Never been there before, but looking forward to it. And that's some of the things that I have coming up. And then definitely your listeners could connect with me on I am Michael Allison on all social media platform or on my website at www.michaelwallison.com as well.
Cool. Yeah, if you email me any of these links you would like added to the description of YouTube description or whatever, I can just kind of throw those in. People can find you. Um, and yeah, that was the next kind of thing. Where can our listeners find out more about your work, the Adversity Academy, and how can they get involved or start their own journey toward resilience and personal growth?
Yeah, definitely. So if you want to go through your process of that for free on my website, you have the framework itself where you can download it. It's decision, direction, destination. It kind of takes you to the path of some of the things that you can do on your own. I also have a quiz on the website that you can sign up for and just go through your awareness challenge for yourself to see what kind of leader that you are. And it comes with a free PDF that you can download immediately right after that. In addition to that, man, yeah, you could just work with me as a coach. I could help you coach you through some things you're trying to navigate through. And all of my coaching is customized to you. So there's not a cookie cutter type of coaching. It's what you come to me for saying, hey, Michael, I need help with this. And I'm going to put together a customized program and a plan for you to help you get you to your goals too as well.
Cool. Before we end, if you could leave our listeners with one piece of advice about leadership, resilience, or overcoming adversity, what would it be?
Yeah, my tip and advice would be this. If you're going to go out in this world and live the life that you're truly trying to live and not have no regrets when you get to your final days on this earth, I think you got to be difference led. And when you're difference led, what is it that truly drives you on the inside? What is it that you're truly passionate about? What is it that gives you that purpose to wake up every single day and get out and take action? So you got to be difference led.
Thank you, thank you. And in my closing, I want to thank you for your military service. I always respect military veterans, anything like that, war veterans, anything. So I thank you for your service. And I thank you for your time today. I know you're a busy man and, giving me a little bit of time to do this interview. It's very much appreciated.
And absolutely, man. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Um, and if you don't mind, I will keep your email address, just, maybe future time of another interview or something to see what's going on in your business or your life or your books or whatever.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely.
And I'll send you the link to Monday's show so you can share it or watch it or whatever. And hey, maybe I'll find another viewer with you watching my shows, even they're kind of weird sometimes, but I have my fun. So,
No, do you think, man? Nothing but support for you, bro. Thank you, man.
thank you, and I'll talk to you later.
Okay, man. Thank you.
That was Michael Allison from the Adversity Academy, reminding us that growth often begins with where comfort ends. If you want to learn more, check out adversityacademy.com and follow him on socials at the Adversity Academy. Trust me, his daily insights are the kind of motivation your feed could use. We'll be back right after this short break. Okay, that was the short break. But before we close out, let me tell you about a future upcoming interview. Um, just kind of got this interview not too long ago, so this is just kind of an announcement of it. On Friday, June 20th, 2025, I'm going to have Claude Beauty, a YouTuber, pretty big YouTuber, showing support for mental health and different things and LGBTQ and all that stuff. So tune in for that. It'll be a good interview, I think, and you know, I look forward to it. Now, there are days like today when it feels like I don't matter at all. Okay, I just want to be real for a minute. My suggestions are ignored, my feelings are dismissed, my freedom pretty much gone. I'm surrounded by people I care deeply about. Okay, my mother, my brother, my wife, my stepdaughter. And somehow every part of my life seems to orbit around their needs, their choices, and their voices. And mine kind of gets drowned out most of the time. There's no backup, no compassion, nothing. They just, what I say, they just kind of try to ignore it. And I'm like, whatever. But, you know, today I did a bunch of cleaning. The wife helped with a bunch of cleaning. Past couple of days, bunch of cleaning. So I'm exhausted. I mean, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, everything. It's like this work has drained me. And then just dealing with the mom who wants to tell me, oh, make sure you do this. They want that done. They want that done. Do this and do that. I'm like, I know, mother. I know. Okay. Um, so sometimes I feel like a ghost in my own story, alive but invisible. But here's the thing: even in the silence, even when no one hears me, I hear me because you can't shut yourself up. I mean, other people can shut you up, but you can't shut yourself up. You can't be telling yourself to shut up unless you got like multiple personalities or something like that. But even when no one shows compassion, I can still choose not to turn cold. Now, sometimes I turn cold. I get attitude. I get a little spunky with my mama, or I get a little spunky with my brother. I, I just it just comes out, you know. And dealing with a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety and a lot of worry and a lot of things like that, it just snaps in my head and I just go off sometimes. But you know, I I can still choose not to turn cold, but it happens. I mean, it's not like I sit there and be like, okay, I'm just gonna be an asshole to everybody. I don't mean to. It just happens. But even when I'm completely out of control, I can still choose to show up, and I technically always do. I always show up and get done what I need to get done to my best of my abilities. Um, because maybe strength isn't about power or freedom. It's about surviving without either. It's about standing tall when no one's clapping, loving when nothing is returned, speaking even when no one is listening. I don't have all the answers today, just truth, but maybe that's enough for now. And if you're feeling like you're drowning under the weight of everyone else's needs, just know you're not alone. I see you. I'm right there too, with my mom and stuff like that, caregiving for my mama, helping caregive for my brother, taking care of this house today and yesterday, the day before. It's been crazy. And somehow, we are still standing, all of us. And that's worth something. Something. And that's a wrap on this episode of Motivational Monday. A big shout out to Michael Allison for joining us, and as always, keep it real with some much needed perspective and presence. And to you, thank you for tuning in, for showing up, for investing a few minutes into your mindset and your heart. Here's your reminder for the road. Rest is not a reward. It's a part of the process. Don't just grind, grow. Refill your cup. Recharge your focus. And remember, progress includes pauses. You can take a pause and take a break without looking like a weak person. But we'll be back here tomorrow for Tuesdays in Lakewood, shining a spotlight on the stories and people making waves right here in my hometown. Until then, stay grounded, stay inspired, and most importantly, stay kind to your mind. I want to hear you all say that 3 times fast. Stay kind to your mind. You matter even on the quiet days, especially on the quiet days. We'll talk again soon. Much love. Have a good one.